So we finally got around to being able to talk about Mare of Easttown, the
Yeah.
season finale, right?
Yeah, season finale. It's probably the finale. I wouldn't think that they'd make another. I think that
Yes.
the loose ends of this show make it more real life, which I think that is really what one of the things that they were going for is that it be very real life kind of feeling.
Yeah, I don't, and I appreciate anybody that called me out on how I was saying East Town. So we're going to
Mm,
say Mare of Easttown.
yeah.
Um, I do believe there's an
Hot.
Easton somewhere in that neck of the woods is probably where I picked it up from. But yeah, so we watched the finale,
Mhm.
and what were your thoughts?
I was wrong. At least it
Because
was.
did you tell everybody who you thought it was?
Yeah, I thought it was. Didn't I thought it was Lori. I
Mhm.
thought that her. I thought that that would be because of the storm. I can't remember the exact quote, but I thought that her betrayal of her friend, of her, the only person who was really had her back would have been the thing, but it was the worst of the worst. It was she was taking the child, basically taking a child away from her best friend who helped her when she lost her child. Like
Yeah,
the irony.
yeah, it was, you knew that somewhere along the way that her friend Lori was going to be, or Lore would be some kind of a key component to at least the emotions that we're going to run through the episode. But I think I told you I had to watch it. I think I've watched it 5 times at this point because there was so much crammed into that final episode, which I know that they had to do,
Because
but
they had so much to
there were so many
tie
loose
up.
ends. But I felt like upon repeat viewings, I felt like they did tie most things up, and watching
I
it.
did. There were a couple things I had questions about, but like I said, I don't think it matters. I think I mean, if it really happened, there'd be tons of loose ends. We'd always, because life goes on. I mean, just because we're not going to see the aftermath of these people's lives any further, which kind of glad because it's quite frankly pretty depressing. It's
Yeah,
sad.
so it starts out where we left off in that last episode where Mare is kind of approaching John Ross and his brother Billy Ross, who have gone on this fishing trip, and there's a gun in a tackle box. Billy has admitted to, this crime,
Mhm.
and you're sort of led to believe something bad's going to happen to Billy as you find out in the police station that Aaron's friend has given the chief of police, this picture of Aaron in bed with John. So this
Right.
is why we're trying to get a hold of Mare, who's scaled him out, and is toddling down, like a ledge somewhere.
Ah.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting. And so much of that happening in the beginning led me to believe there was more to what was seen.
Yeah,
So
because why would that be at the very beginning?
yeah, what I
Yeah.
did like, and I thought was the same thing that we saw. So Mare kind of approaches the scene. Um, you know, John is going to shoot Billy. They're kind of like Billy's calling him out on it, and then Mare screams from the mountain ledge to stop, and then John's going to try to hurt himself or shoot himself. So
Oh, and then Billy, poor Billy, like what such a victim himself of like all the secrets he had to keep and everything, and loving his brother and loving his, the cousin, and being sickened by the incest and
yeah,
the whole thing, but still loving his brother enough to be like no, and like trying to stop him from killing himself. It was very
I liked that Mare stumbled into the water because I appreciated that they've it's obvious this isn't the type of police work that happens in East Town. So
right.
may it be the episode where Evan Peters gets shot and she's kind of having a panic attack, and she's like her falling and stumbling and was awkward like you'd expect it to be in a town that is used to having very normal run of the mill kind of petty crime stuff.
It's really funny that you mentioned her gait, like her stumbling and everything, because everything about her shuffle and her weariness is so like not it's not polished or glam at all. Like I know I say it's Hollywood. It's not like that. It is really gritty and not gritty like a crime drama gritty, but gritty as in like how dirty real life gets sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's kind of, it gets that piece we think to be tied up. And I'm trying to remember, I know that, at which point, I guess it was during the interrogation with John, when they finally get him there, that she realizes that her girlfriend, Lori,
God.
has led her on this wild goose chase of Billy all this time.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And she feels betrayed at that. I mean,
Angry too. Like,
yeah,
it's funny
pissed
when
off.
he gets sentenced and he wants 2 minutes with Lori, and he's wanting Lori to take this son DJ and raise him. And Laura's kind of lurking around like in the courthouse, kind of peering around the wall, looking furious. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a betrayal, but I think it was a rage too. I think she was furious with her.
Yeah, like how dare you after. Yeah. Yeah. She God, that I was gonna say that Kate Winslet really, her acting chops really were really phenomenal in this, and she was able to really be the face of grief until she like kind of gave the reins over to Laura or what's her name, Julianne Nicholson, is that her name, Nicholas or Nicholson? That woman, her raw
Yeah.
sob after they first take Ryan away. I know we're skipping around, but God, that sob. And even when he runs home and is like, "Mom, Mare knows," and that, like that, you could feel that on her. I mean, that she thinks she just was very powerful.
Yeah, no, it sort of like moves beyond that, and regardless of what she thinks of that, and you kind of go through this period of the episode where I think like lovely things are all kind of coming together. You have um, Katie, the missing girl, getting the house, and that scene where the mother tells her everybody loves her. You have what was Lori's husband's name, Frank, and
Yeah.
Faye getting married, and Mare's there with Professor,
The professor.
and that's all lovely. And we had to have Siobhan singing "We Belong" by Pat Benatar, which made me mad. I know it was supposed to be sweet. Everything about, she so did not fit into I understood everything that they had her there for like Mare's arc and all this stuff, but I don't care what you say.
Well, even the documentary, that was my question. That was a loose end that, why did they spend so much time on that documentary, not to like say something or have some little like la la at the end, even if it was a polished like, but she loved him kind of ending of the documentary. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and it's you have, there's a really nice scene where they're at like a Dave and Buster's, and
Oh, that scene.
That was a nice scene because Mare's obviously getting along with Faye and Frank, and everything's kind of nice, and the grandson's playing whatever in those rip-off bars that you go to where he wants the granddad and Faye to go play with him, and then there's that really nice exchange between Jean Smart and Helen and Mare.
It was so great, and I just she was trying to tell her like in her own cheeky way, maybe almost passive aggressive way, her whole life, that she did a shitty job raising her. Mm-hmm. And she always fought that, like Jean Smart always fought that, but like ate her up inside, so you could tell. And when she called her Marianne, I was like, yeah. Oh my God, killer. And
she's strong, and it's funny that she has what we think of as a very I don't know, very, I don't want to say feminine, but a very innocent Susie Q kind of name like Mary Ann.
Yes.
I thought it was funny that that's her name. Of course, she shortened it to Mare because she.
But when her voice kind of broke when she said it, and it brought her back to like this little girl. And I don't know why it at the time, and maybe after I look back at it, it's kind of silly, but it reminded me of the mother-daughter relationship in terms of endearment. I don't know why. Maybe, but there was something that was reminiscent.
Yeah, and then the timeline, I'm also like mixed up a little bit, but when Helen / Jean Smart, because to me she's not a character, she's just Jean Smart.
She'll always just be Jean Smart.
But when she had one too many Manhattans and she fell over in the chair and she
trying to turn off.
And there was that piece where Mare comes home and she says to Mare, "I'm always on your side, even if I don't."
I know
that was nice too.
Yeah, and there was some thank you and acknowledgement. She definitely got like, she could definitely hear more of that and started like forgiving because of the counseling. I think through the counseling's coaching, she was able to have these conversations and not just storm off.
She's not firing off or exhibiting behaviors that are extreme or unthought out. She's
she's starting to think. And before she wasn't, we kind of talked about that. Like she was doing some pretty irrational things. But that's good to know that she maybe is thinking a little bit.
How did she end up with the shrink? I know that there was a scene with the shrink.
What was the shrink told her to no, that was like the deacon's speech. I thought she kind of told her, wasn't it more like because she had asked her about her conversations with Laura and if she was able to talk with her, and she said, what did she tell her? She said that sometimes, why can't I remember that? I've tried to pay attention during that scene, but it was mainly about her and Laura, I thought. Or no, how she came in, putting her whole self into something because of her grief. Trying to hide and solve the case because of the grief. Like, how did that, like, tell me, like, almost like, tell me about that. Like, you saw that you were putting that off, and what you did was basically cause somebody else like horrific grief because, I mean, she wasn't the therapist wasn't telling her that she did something wrong.
No, not at all.
But she was telling her that, that was your decision, to come in here and solve this.
Yeah, no. And, again, I can't believe how much was thrown into this episode because there was also the custody hearing that she had to do.
Yeah.
The custody hearing. And we realized that she, what was her name? I think Carrie.
Yeah.
Yes. She doesn't show up to the hearing, but Mare gets this text, and that was a nice scene that they had together. And Carrie's understanding that she's not ready, and she's been using for a couple of weeks,
and she's on her way to rehab. Yeah.
So that itself got tied up, and and then we had the scene with Siobhan going off to Berkeley. Thank God, can I drive you there myself? But it was. What I thought was really cute, everybody but Siobhan had a really nice moment there, like Mare's choking up and saying, "Now get out of here." And the Siobhan's nephew, saying goodbye to her and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was everything around it was all very nice, but we'll talk about it. There's a couple of characters whose cadence was so off with me. So Mare's boss at the police station, his cadence was off. His was Law and Order SUV, which I like that stuff. Reading
from the script that was being held up, it felt like
that. And Siobhan, I think her acting was okay, but she had no.
It was strange. The only thing was that she, she's the one that called about the body, so she had that thing. But what
I think she was there for everybody to Mare go on a journey with the fact that they didn't talk about the brother, and I think addressing the fact that she did not was looking for a reason not to go away to Berkeley. I thought that scene on the bed where she says, "Can you be my mom?" and Mare says, "I think you should go." I think
Yeah.
it was to emphasize, her getting out of the town. Like I think it was all dealing with the brother that had died, but also,
Hmm.
everything is so ingrained in that town. I think that was
Oh, yeah.
what she was there for. But
Because who else left? Yeah, she was definitely like the bird that got out of the cage.
yes, yes. And then this is my other actor. So what
Oh
happens
God.
next? What do we go to next? Is it when Mare makes her house call?
The guy, the guys, yes, that was just the lines even. Come on, at least give him like when he's like, I don't know, like you mean what's her name's husband, the one that Jean Smart had the affair
Yeah.
with.
So which I actually like the way the book ended, because we start off Mare with her going to, I believe Betty was the woman that died, right? Is it Betty?
Yes.
So she, like in the very first episode, Betty calls Mare for something ridiculous. And
Hmm.
then she gets this call from Betty's widow, who admitted to having an affair with Helen at the repast.
Right.
And she goes over there and he's going through, asking her about death and replaces the pigsty, and then this missing, that missing. And how do we then end up landing again? His cadence was on like,
Oh, by the way, a gun.
so
Okay.
Betty's husband, whoever it was, the one that Helen did the affair with, if you told me he thought he was on a episode of the Goldbergs, I wouldn't be surprised. It was so sitcom-y acting. It was so bizarre.
I know, but like maybe he was a friend of a friend and they just wanted to throw him in there. Maybe he was like somebody from the town that they just like felt like they should give up the mayor or something, give him a part.
It was just, anyway, it leads very well. I like where it leads, but among the dried pasta on the table and the cup of coffee, I would not have taken from him, because God knows what day it was from.
She probably
And
needed it though.
but he starts to talk about like things missing and how this gun was missing. And one, the fact that had he been a police officer as well? Is that
He didn't actually say like the police. I think he was like some kind of like, I don't want to say volunteer police.
it was somehow tied where he was allowed to keep his gun when he retired?
Yeah.
So I don't know why you'd let a gun go missing without reporting it. Like if you so knew that it was gone.
Yeah, like it was gone. And then by the way, and the strange thing is there were 2 rounds missing. That kind of stuff was just weird. I don't know why I mean, I don't think it was really supposed to be. I mean, some of the acting was some of the best I've seen for a while.
I've ever seen, yes.
Some beautiful acting and some of the worst. But even the lines, even the dialogue of the show wasn't the best in a lot of parts. But I really don't think that's what they were going for now. I really feel like it was more about, to go back and be repetitive, more about trying to make it real than it was to try to make it like maybe necessarily a crime drama or a who done it kind of thing.
Maybe. Yeah, I just thought that was one of those other. I felt that Betty's husband was a little bit off when he gave his. I had an affair with Helen on the stairs while she was.
I know. I was like, somebody needs to watch this guy because he's going down the. Yeah. There's going to be a silver alert pretty soon.
But you led to believe, there's this missing gun, and it's only the Ross kid that has the key, and Mare goes to this security system.
That music that was playing during that time was really got my stomach going too. They have some really good.
Her reaction that like she does a thing with her reaction to seeing the kid. Plausibility of her just being able to immediately log onto somebody's security system and scroll through the days. Granted, she'd been there before and erased something. Didn't she like delete something like on his security system?
Yeah, I think there was something on there.
But anyway, so, she sees that and has a very nice scene, her reaction to seeing that Ryan Ross was the one that took the gun.
And then her ride over there and her walk to the school and that kid looking at her and her just looking, that was intense.
Well, yeah, it was, I think, because you don't know how the extreme of how he murdered her, and you've seen him defend his sister nicely with a lunch tray, but you've seen that scene, so you don't know yet if he's just somebody that's a sociopath, or like you don't know if this kid is just hardwired to be like a murderer.
Right.
But I liked that he flees, showed me what a kid he was.
Yeah.
He immediately flees, runs to school, runs home to his mom, and says to his mom, she knows, she knows.
Yeah, that was a lot in my throat.
Well, as a scared little boy, I was happy to see, I just thought that was sweet. And
right, instead of him being a sociopath, because we've seen so many sociopath kids now.
I think I went to one of those the lunch scene with the tray. I went to like that movie, There's Something About Kevin.
Yes. That movie will haunt me for the rest of my life.
Or The Good Son, or like one of those moments. So that and the fact that I had Ryan in my head ever since there was that conversation with the dad that Lori overhears about it just our secret. I was frontmost with him, but he gets taken away, and I think even what he admits to everything. It was really him that shot her. It was he shot her finger off, and he shot her in the head. What I didn't think was really clear, and maybe we didn't need to know it, was he reached out to his dad to come help him. Like he panics.
He panics. He moved her body over, like out of the light, because it was right there. And he moved her body over. He calls the dad, tells him where the body is after he puts the gun away, or puts the gun back, which was really kind of smart, really, in his own mind, if the guy hadn't checked on it.
And Billy helped John clean up.
And make it look like they disrobed her some and made it look kind of like it might have been, a sexual assault or whatever. And then everybody has to be quiet, and Billy is guilt-ridden. So that's why he looks so suspicious and weird the whole time.
Yeah, no, and just because he played a part in it, it explains, his guilt, and I guess that awkward scene where he says, "Because you can't keep it in your pants." That weird scene at the father's house that explains a little bit his anger, because he's kind of.
That's another one that couldn't really act as that father. Now I think that they did have maybe like a group of people that they just grabbed off the street for some of those roles, but I don't know. I don't want to.
Maybe you're saying it's like, not everybody's going to come at it like Meryl Streep or Kate Winslet. I mean, these are just supposedly normal people in town that don't have to, that aren't dynamic like Jean Smart. They're.
We can't all be Jean Smart.
Not at all. So that.
True.
Yeah, it was so heart-wrenching to see him go away. How I love the way Merrick calls him sweetie.
Oh, I know.
It kills me because I use sweetie a lot, and that he was going to be okay. But again, the just having to see the torture of this mother, and then mother has a new baby, and Dylan shows up with the ear, the tubes, the ear surgery as well as the money that he lifted from the journals, which is fine.
Yeah, it was all right.
I would have gone crazy if Dylan didn't have a bookend, because I still don't know his parents wanting to take the custody of the baby, that he would have gone to the extremes of chasing that girl down and threatening her with a gun. It was just all a bit.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit crazy, because he didn't seem to have except for that one scene in the hospital when he picked up and soothed the kid, he didn't seem to have he seemed more like a tired, taking care of the baby when he was hungover and stuff like that. I mean,
But when Lori goes to get the baby, it's surgery.
uh,
I was kind of sad that she was letting the baby sit there and cry.
spacing off. Like, I know I
Yeah,
was
like
worried
she
about the
was
baby.
very detached from that baby. I was,
So I wonder, like, I do wonder, like, future, like, that's why I was like, I kind of hope there's not a season two because it's kind of grim. Like, I don't know if that baby has much of a future, except that when she brought the baby to visit Ryan and she said, you want to say hello to your brother.
I felt like she was going through the same journey that Dylan did in that hotel room, in the hospital room. I felt like she was
Yeah,
going through that same journey, but that poor little baby that was so, I hated that baby crying in that
it
seat.
was this
Her
awful
not
cry,
picking him up.
too.
Pick him up.
I know, but she was like dead eyes, like looking off, and
But
she
she's
was,
probably in a state of shock. But I did like that. I liked that they visited the son in the juvenile detention hall, and it seemed to be, I don't want to say pleasant, but he liked one of his class.
liked his class. Yeah.
So, and then I think we get our final kind of like, we kind of come close,
Uh,
we kind of get that feeling that Lore and Mare,
they just can't stay apart. They've been friends
uh,
forever. They need each other. This is the time that they need each other the most. I mean, she can't not have her Mare in her life. She needs her now. And it was obvious, like her falling and the weight of her and them sitting down on
it
the
was a
floor.
beautiful way that they awkwardly fell.
Oh,
It was
that
a
was oh so beautiful. Like it wasn't like orchestrated at all. It was just like she actually just put her weight into her and
and
they
you
did it.
genuinely thought they were going to fall over, like in real
Yeah,
life.
it could have totally
It was
happened.
very. It wasn't that Midler and Stella when she has that drop to her knees with California Dreaming. It wasn't like that.
Mother only does things her way, but
Well, no, that's a glorious scene, but it wasn't this. It wasn't this choreographed collapse to
no.
the ground. I really genuinely thought they were going to fall over. I loved it.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
almost thought they were gonna fall over and start laughing. Like it was like, it just didn't kind of know what was gonna happen, and it killed me. It killed me even more when she was like, "I'm here," because Laura had said, "I'm here for you," and so like that really came full circle that they really needed each other.
You
It
know what
was
I thought?
weird that she got the thought from the deacon. Like
Yes,
that
yeah.
church speech is always kind of, but they had to tie that up. So I guess that was the best way to tie it up. But I was like, that's a little cheesy, go to them. Okay. And so she went to
Yeah. Well, I thought the theme, if you think about it, with the sons and the men and everything, like you have Mare's son, you have Lori's son, you have, you know, the grandson, you had, like there was so much tied.
Dylan as a son to the parents,
Yeah,
them, her watching him parent that whole thing, like my son. Yeah.
yeah. So it was really, really like, again, it was not the hardest thing in the world for me to watch it 4 or 5 different times because it's just so well done. And each of those times I noticed different things that I didn't because watching it live, so much was happening in rapid space that I didn't register Mare's reaction on the security camera when she realized that it's Ryan the same way as I did upon. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you would go with a second season because there's really, I think I kept thinking of Big Little Lies, who did a second season when they probably didn't need to, and it was great and there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong, but there was still outstanding things. Like there was still,
They were trying to tie things up.
there were things that weren't finalized and places to go. I mean, where is Mare going to go visit the professor at Bates Academy and stumble across this
I know. Are we going to see Siobhan come back from Berkeley for Christmas vacation?
Yes, she goes to visit Siobhan, and who is singing a cover of.
There's nothing to do. Like go see the
Siobhan
girl
singing
in rehab.
True Colors by Cyndi Lauper.
Oh no.
Horrific.
Oh my God. Yeah, we can't have another one. I mean, I would watch it because I would be curious, but I hope there's
I
not.
don't know. It isn't Murder She Wrote, and it's not a drama. So like, I don't know. I mean, it's a drama, it's dramatic, but it's
I
not.
hope he does other things. Like I
Yeah.
hope he does more because I think he's very talented, and I wouldn't mind seeing more taking place in Pennsylvania. Um, I would kind of like that. Like I would like more of that kind of community.
What is it going to be? Lori of Easttown? You do a different town member? You could probably, but yeah, it is. I just thought it was so funny when I first started watching this. I felt like nobody in the world aside from you and I were watching, and to be a part of something. And I think so much for like Big Little Lies. I don't know that it is to the extreme of Big Little Lies, but I
Right.
thought the world all of a sudden was starting to watch this show.
Yeah, it did have
Great.
it did have a following of sorts. I had somebody come over today and I didn't realize that she was like, "Oh, I just finished Mare of Easttown." I'm like, "Oh, me too." Like I didn't like it was really kind of neat to see other people because some of the ones I watch, there people will be, I'll talk about it and they'll be like, "Eh."
Yeah, no, but it was really, really well done. And I think I loved it very, very much. Is there anything else that we left off?
No, I
Our
mean,
3 hour presentation?
I want to see Jean Smart and more. I now want to see Kate Winslet. I want to see Julianne Nicholson, I think. God, I gotta think.
I don't know much of her, but I did read an article. I read an article of somebody that was very in fashion, very impressed with her. Like she's got a body of work. So I'm gonna have to IMDb her.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because she was really good. But this was our first series recap. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do next.
We're looking for more, and we've talked about a couple, but if you have any suggestions or know of anything coming up, make some comments. Let us know what we should watch.
Comments. We want to know that when we've said Easton instead of Easttown.
Yes, thank you for that.
Kelly instead of Kenny. That was the other thing I think. But well, anyway, it was great. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Love you, Pat.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.